Hi everybody, I'm Nettie K. Welcome back to my studio. Hey, today we're going to do a little bit of glazing. Now, what is glazing? Glazing just means adding a second or third layer onto your painting that's already dry. All right, an area that's dry to the touch, you can add a layer of another color over the top, and it gives it this wonderful translucency, which just means it looks like, you can see through it. All right, because you can. All right. So, and also I use it on situations like this where I've decided that I want to change the color of this flower. Yeah, I do. I know some of you are going to go, I like it just the way it is. Yeah, I do too, but I want to make it a little bit more interesting and give it a little more depth. So, let's take a look at this area right here. Now, what I'm doing is I'm going to add what's called transparent coloring. All right, what is transparent? Well, the transparent paint. You can't use, again, you don't want to use any paints that are really thick and have a lot of white in it that you can't see already through. Okay, like what did I say before? Raw sienna, yellow ochre, certain colors that are not naturally transparent. So my choices are really phthalo blue, alizarin crimson, some of the, maybe ultramarine blue, a lot of the blues, and any kind of yellow like cadmium yellow or Indian yellow or transparent orange. So you just see, kind of take a look at it, and if you, if you put it on a glass panel or on a glass jar or something, and you can't see through, probably not a transparent color. Okay, well, just can try anyway. So, meanwhile, I've got this kind of burgundy color down here, and I'm going to see if I can enhance that burgundy color by taking a brush, and now I'm going to add my medium, which is still half stand oil and half odorless thinner in a jar. I just dip my brush into it, and I'm now going to grab some Diocsazine Purple, which is a translucent color. Now watch this. I'm going to go over this part of my flower, and I'm going to put it down on top of what I've already got. It's not quite as dramatic when you're doing this. Oops, I just hit it into the white. That's okay. Look at that. It's dry. I can wipe it right off. But you can see how all of a sudden it has got a lot more drama in it. Now I could use an opaque color, and that would still do the same kind of thing. But where it's really going to begin to change is going to be up in this light color. I'll take a vote as to what color we're going to go with. So I've got that like this, and so I can take a towel, a little towel with a little bit of thinner on it, and I can show you how that creates a little bit of a transparent, just a layer of color that will give it a little bit more depth. And that's just the way we do it in the darks. Okay, but the real magic comes when you move into the light. And now I have to decide what color I really want those petals to be. Alright, so now I want to make this into a little more of a peachier color up here. What color is peach? That's a good question. Let's try a little bit of transparent orange with cadmium red light. My cadmium red light seems to be quite almost on the verge of opaque, but not really. Alright, so I'm going to add more transparent orange to it, and we'll see what happens when I do this. Let's do it right, well, let's just start right from the edge and hope for the best. Okay, so there, I'm going to add this to it. I know that's a little bit scary. And then I add more medium to it. Now, a peach color really has white in it. But in this case, we're just going to go with a kind of an orange rendition to start with. And I'm just covering up that white. Now I should be able to see right through this. Watch this. Okay, I can see right through it. I know I can see through it. And then I'm going to take my little paper towel, a new one preferably, and I can come in and just wipe that in. and it's almost like a stain in a way. A little bit of a stain, and I can pull up different elements. It's a little bit like when we do our toning of the canvas, only now I'm doing the toning of the flower. I'm just going to move this around, and I can paint opaque color on top of it to make highlights if I want. But I'm just literally changing the color of this flower without losing any of the detail. Look at that. I'm trying this out, and I'm not sure if I like it yet. That's interesting. Okay. A little more medium on there. I'm just going to wipe that in. So you can see how you can still see all that detail right through onto the canvas like this. Alright, see this area over here. I'm going to move this canvas just a little bit. I'm going to slide it over. And what if I added a phthalo in here to kind of push this off? This is a kind of green color right now. And now here's my phthalo blue. And I can always add I can add a little bit of a, you know, teal or various different colors. But first off, I'm going to add the phthalo blue with my medium. It's going to be a little bit crazy, you guys. And then I'll put the phthalo blue, and I'm just going to go around the edge of this flower a little bit. It gives a real seriously dark, you know, punch when it comes to this. But I can, now when I wipe that off again, I wipe it into the canvas. I can still see all those little things underneath. I hope you can. There's a little bit of a, yeah, it's just a glow of, and it looks more, because it's green underneath and I put the phthalo, it's kind of a, an olive green underneath. I put the phthalo on top of it. It just makes it look kind of like a really luminous aqua marine color. I'm going to do that up here because I think it's going to really work. Sometimes, you know, you just like it, and sometimes you don't, and oh well, you just keep painting over it. It's only paint. So let's do this again. I'm going to put this up here, make sure I have enough. A lot more oil to it. Try to avoid the edge of that flower. There, yeah. Now adding that to it, it makes the background more mysterious, and it also makes this petal really stand out from what it was before. Okay, so now down here in this corner, that's really, really stark, and it kind of sticks out quite a bit. So I'm going to do the same thing down here and see what happens. I really enjoy the experimentation part of the art. Now sometimes you get so, you want to have something stable that you know is going to work right off the bat. And sometimes you don't. You just want to just play around a little bit. But today we're playing. Now I'll rub that in, and you can see how you can still see the edge of the flower. I'm catching the edge with the teal. But it just gives it a different color, and it makes it a little less, you know, as though it's just this garish, bright green that we have down here. So I'll stand back and see if I really want to keep this. Hold on. I want to try another color over here. So let's think about maybe a light. Anything light is a bit of a challenge. So what if we do a little bit of quinacridone violet? Yeah, let's try that. Quinacridone violet's a little bit more of a pinky violet, but it's in a little bit more of it is a transparent color. In fact, it says it on the tube that it's a transparent color. So let's try that. I'm really washing my brush out in between these washes because I don't want too much of what was on there before to hit. Okay, so here I have my quinacridone violet. And let's see what happens. Now here we go. Look at that. That's beautiful. Thin washes of color so that I keep the detail that I have underneath. I don't lose it. I'm going to go right over the top of what we just did. If I apply it in with just the paint with no medium on it, it'll just register as, you know, violet, big deal. Okay, so I want to make sure that I do it in a thin layer. I don't want to do it in a big thick layer. That doesn't work. Okay, there's that wonderful kind of violet color over the top of my cream color. And then I take the rag again and I find the highlights that I had before, and I'm going to come back over that, create this wonderful little bit of depth. You can see I'm pulling in some of that phthalo blue into the stripe, which is I like it, so I'm going to do it on purpose. I'm going to pull that phthalo blue into that color. Pull it from the outside in, and so that it gives it an interesting color combination. Wow, I love that. Let's have some fun. A little bit of that phthalo blue, or phthalo blue color from over here that I pulled into the flower. Isn't that pretty? Now I can add some white to it. That's the, you know, kind of the idea of glazing right there. And then if I add white onto what I've glazed, it will pick up the color underneath and then just make it kind of jump out a little bit more. So let's try that. Here's a little bit of that transparent cadmium yellow color. Let's give it a little bit more of a sunshine feel. When I do yellow flowers, you guys, it takes probably 4 to 6 layers of transparent color in order for the yellow flowers to come to life. So be ready for that. Okay, now what happens if I add a little bit of white? I'll add a little bit of white to this over here and we'll see what happens in the highlight. Now see, that's an opaque color. There's a difference between the opaque color and the transparent color. Now I'm starting to blend the opaque color into the transparent color, back and forth a little bit. Now here's some yellow with white. I'm also going to show you a little bit, when I have a curve out like this where the flower is kind of curving like this, I'm going to take my white and I'll put that in oddly a stripe all the way across the petal where the highlight is going to hit, right there. That's kind of weird, I know. Where else can I do that? Well, we'll just leave that for a second. And then I will go this way and take that glaze, the glaze paint, and then work it up over the top of that highlight. I don't overblend, but I just wipe off my brush, move it up and down, and I just start at the base of that kind of flower petal and I work it over the top of the highlight. It's a really great way to do petals, and it's also a great way to do hair. Yes, you can. Now I'm going to take some transparent orange into our medium again, and I'm going to add a little bit of that into some of this odd green. Kind of glaze it in a little bit and warm it up. This is that transparent color right here, and it makes it feel as though there's a kind of a warm bit of sunshine coming through whatever this is. It's a bit of an abstract form. I'll take it down here too because I want to warm that up a little bit. Okay, now I'm going to stand back and take a look at it and see if I want to change anything else. I'm still kind of bored with a few areas here, so hey, what have I got to lose? Nothing. Let's try this. I'd like to make these petals into the phthalo blue. It's just so crazy, I can't believe it. Oh yeah, that's really cool. Phthalo blue, I'm going to add that, almost turns it into a black. Really, really high contrast right there. Now, add a little bit of white to it. Now that's unconventional. Woo! Who ever heard of a blue iris? Not in that color anyway. It's the same thing down here on this part. I'm going to glaze this color down here. Definitely like that better. I know not everybody's going to like that, but I sure do. Okay, let's do it again over here. So if I lay down that transparent color ahead of time and then add white to it, that's how I'm getting that really amazing luminous looking highlight right there. Is I put the dark color down that's transparent and I add white to it, and it really just makes this look like a really vibrant looking color. And so especially up against this yellow up above it. That's just absolutely crazy. I don't know why I'm just doing this, but I have to. Sometimes I get so bored. I just can't. If I'm bored with a piece, what are my patrons doing with theirs? I have to make sure that people who purchase my paintings are as excited about it as I am. And if I'm not excited, they're not going to be excited. So, wow, I like this. Okay, now come right up here and just pull that around with a little white. All I've done is add a little white to my brush, and I find where those little highlights are underneath, or the light parts are underneath, and I just look for them and I put them in with one long stroke, and it begins to bring this kind of violet blue out from the paint. A little more there, yeah. Be part of my Moonflower series. Hey, that was kind of a fun experiment, wasn't it? It's a little bit wild. I think I'll probably try to finish this one with this particular color combination, and then I'll show it to you again in another lesson when we come back together. I hope you learned something, and if you did and you would like to learn more, don't forget to subscribe and share with your friends, and I'll see you again next time. Thanks so much for watching. Bye-bye.